everyone, and welcome to Balsamic Games, as we will be playing tonight the second and final session of our Werewolf X Forged in the Dark special with our Patreon supporters as the players, and Andrea.
And me.
Um, I am going to let everybody introduce their characters real quick, and then I will do a little recap of last week's game. So let's start from Elliot.
Everybody, I am Elliot and I am playing Spark. And hold on, realized my mic was not near me. Spark is, just this androgynous person, probably uses they, he pronouns, something like that. They like wearing weird patterned shirts, they have some pants that are really nice. You kind of you look at them at first glance and you think they're just like a weird looking dad who doesn't have children for some reason. They are definitely into art directing and stuff like that, but they're pretty much like an attention craving person. They try to use it to their advantage. Sometimes they talk with their hands a lot. So you never know what Spark is actually up to, but they're pretty good at talking. And recently they made a weapon, which they're very proud of.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, I'm sure that's good. You're going to get some good use out of that in the next few minutes.
I hope.
All right, Mia.
Hello, I'm Mia. I play Kiel, who is Ragabash Lupus. They are most of the time in their lupus form. They much prefer that form over that of their homid form. But when they do switch to homid, you would witness a very messy red hair person who wears only mismatched clothing and never wear shoes. They cannot abide the thought of wearing shoes. Their principal occupation is to scout for their pack most of the time, and that's what they've been doing with this current pack of silver wolves as well, assist as they can. And they've developed a terrible fear of Magda because she is absolutely powerful, and they will do what they can to assist her and not get in her way. That's pretty much it.
All right, Andrea.
Hi, I'm Magda. Magda is let's see, she is oh my gosh, where's my character sheet? There it is. I don't know. She's an Arun Hamid Shadow Lord werewolf. So she is very large and very strong, but she's pretty zen most of the time. She is very utilitarian in her dress, so kind of like, jean jacket, overalls kind of person, like I am most of the time when nobody can see me. Yeah, she is ready to tear some stuff apart. She has a pretty eccentric nature, but she is a believer at heart. So she wants to believe that what she's doing is right, but she will do it in all different kinds of ways.
Awesome. Sunshine with the infectious dancing.
Hello, I am Sunshine, and I am currently playing Hammond. He is he has long black hair, on his head, long beard, long mustache. It's you can't really tell much of the difference between when he's shifted between the partial werewolf human form versus human form. That's just how fluffy he is, and he wears grunge pants and just the kind of thing that you would see the kind of you see at a heavy metal concert. And he is completely mute, a condition of his birth, and he is a theurge.
Yeah. And Jay.
I'm Jay. I play Leon. He was, when everything started out, was very much a clean cut guy. He in his normal life, he's the boss. He leads a lot of his goings ons, whatever that may be, whether it be professional or personal life. And I think that when he lost the bid to lead the pack here, it kind of humbled him a bit. and over the course of their time together, he's definitely put more time into the idea of the pack mentality. He tried to make sure that he was the one trying to take the hits if he could to keep everyone else safe, trying to make sure that they knew what they were doing so that they could get out and finish their job without anyone being hurt. Probably the biggest thing for him at this point is making sure that his newfound pack is safe and taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Does anybody have any supernatural wounds that they're recovering from, or does everybody just have standard wounds or nothing?
I don't believe I have anything. I think everything healed.
Yeah. I was going to say, in that case, let's go ahead and just heal all regular wounds. Start with a clean slate. You guys have had a few, maybe 45 seconds or so to recover since the last BS happened in your face. So, to recap, this group did not know each other at the beginning of last week's adventure. They had never met before, and each of them had been contacted in their dreams by a spirit saying that it was an emissary of Gaia, which is effectively the werewolf's god that created the werewolves, and has commanded them for millennia, but over the last 100 years or so has talked to the werewolves less and less over time. So a spirit coming to them and saying that it was Gaia was already a bit of a shock, and none of their friends or anybody they confided in believed them. But the dreams continued over weeks and months, and they were constantly being trained and tested in their dreams. And eventually, during a lunar eclipse, their dream world turned into a shared dream world, and they were all introduced to one another and given the ability to communicate telepathically. Very helpful for Hammond. And since then, they were dropped right in the middle of a warehouse in the desert full of armed mercenaries, and they have been doing a marvelous job of tearing through all of them while receiving minimal wounds. They just took out the head of security who had a flamethrower. I think that was kind of a team effort between everybody of building a ladder to get you up to the catwalk and everything. So they're in this giant back area that's about 3 stories tall and has a catwalk that goes across the top. And from what they've been told or learned, thanks to Leon capturing one of the soldiers and mercilessly tickling him, I'm pretty sure is what happened. He told them that there was a helicopter on the roof and that he expected their boss to try to skedaddle at the first opportunity. So that with that information, they were able to take him out, and they also found out that what looked like oil tankers that were being stored in the warehouse appear to be, at least one of them is full of toxic waste. And that toxic waste reanimated some of the soldiers who attacked and caused some pretty heinous wounds and some corruption to some of the PCs. So, where we'll be starting is I think Spark and Leon had made makeshift weapons, crafted them out of the tankers. They ripped metal off of them, and I think everybody's in Krynos form at this point.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
I think only Kiel was still in his bow.
Okay. Well, if you want to be in Krynos, then you can choose what form you're in. Everybody can.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's all be unified.
Yep.
So, to give you an idea, if people aren't aware of Werewolf the Apocalypse, Krynos form is the war form of the Guru, and they are depending on how tall they're standing, they range between about 8 and 11 feet tall. They have claws the size and shape of curved daggers. They can tear through metal with their claws. Their jaws have like at least a foot long bite range. They're massive killing machines. But at this point, the entire warehouse has more or less gone silent, aside from the bubbling of some of the toxic waste. And it is at that time that there were 2 bunkers up 2 levels up. One of the bunkers Magda has been through that housed the security boss. The other bunker, on the other hand, which is on the other side of the toxic waste, you guys haven't made it to yet. But you hear the sound breaking the silence of that back door that leads to the helicopter swinging open, and you watch as a extremely well-dressed man steps out and peers over the catwalk toward you. And this is what he says.
Wasn't expecting guests. I have no idea how you managed to get here. But that matters not. It is time for you to meet your end.
As he shapeshifts into Krynos form, gaining gigantic bat ears that stick up about 8 inches off the top of his head. And when he spreads his arms, you watch as his clothes just sort of meld into his body. He spreads his arms, and you can see that there's webbing that connects the side of his arms to his body. And he steps up effortlessly up onto the catwalk edge, and as he teeters there for a split second, he begins to move his arms in a circular arc, and as he does, you hear all of the oil tankers start to rattle, and you can feel spirit world energy permeating the entire room. And it looks like it's only going to take a few more seconds before he's finished with that spell, so you all can choose what you want to do next. And yes, that was the illustrious and wonderful Morningstar that that gave us that absolutely delicious audio. So, hope everyone enjoyed that. And by the way, Morningstar will be back next week with Night Sky Sanctum, along with Megan and Zelwyn and Andrea. I might even be there too. Okay, so what would anybody like to do? You guys, at the closest, Spark and Leon are probably about 150 or so feet from him. He's 2 stories up, and his side of the catwalk is completely unbroken. The part of the catwalk that you broke was on the other side. But it doesn't look like he's necessarily going to be using that catwalk for much longer.
So yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is taking out those wings so he can't fly away from us. Or, at least disrupting his spell before he wakes up all the toxic sludge monsters.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, if you're sort of sending that message out to everybody and sort of like, hey, quick brainstorming session. So if anybody has any ideas for anything they can do ranged or throw something, it's a pretty good distance.
I was gonna say, I would imagine that the animal probably like whip around and with all of his strength would take that essentially staff that he had crafted and just in that general direction, just whip it as hard as he can to not necessarily like straight on, since that would be a much finer point, but like sort of like a helicopter blade almost, for lack of a better term, just spinning, take out any part of him or make him move to interrupt his transformation, his spell, whatever.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. All right. So what action do you want to use with that?
I don't know if I necessarily. The only thing I happen to range is melee, and this is probably the farthest thing from melee you can have.
Yeah. I think from that distance to hit somebody might be something like finesse.
Okay,
or at
I
least-
got one in finesse, so that would work for me.
Okay. And that's going to be risky. Well, actually, I'm gonna. Yeah, risky. Since he can probably fly down there pretty quickly, and I'm gonna say, and plus the potential of him being able to finish the spell. So risky, and the it's gonna be reduced effect because of the extreme distance. So
Can I do a help?
yeah, how can you help?
I was thinking I could roar really loud and distract him so he's looking at me instead of looking at Leon so he could possibly hit him.
Okay.
And I
Yes.
can spend will for that.
One will,
correct?
and that'll give Leon one extra die. It's still reduced effect though, so
Also, when Spark sees them, they're gonna do flame dance. So it's spending a rage to avoid an attack entirely when it normally would have been reduced in severity. And it's only once per mission, so I kind of want to just do that preemptively.
yeah.
Or is that when I
kind
get
of-
an actual attack?
Yeah, it's kind of in response to being
Okay.
attacked.
All right, cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, definitely something to keep your eye out for, because especially if Spark gets close to Magda, and the two of you are potentially trying to take on any attacks, Flame Dance would at least keep you alive for a single attack.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.
I wasn't sure if it was a preemptive thing or not.
Yeah.
I roll 2 then, since I only have the 1 in finesse.
Yeah. And if you want to increase that by an extra die, or increase the effect to standard effect, you can spend 1 point of. I feel like finesse is a will.
Correct, yeah. So if I spend 2, I can get the extra die, and I can do the standard effects.
Yep. So it'd be 3 dice standard effect.
Okay, got it.
And don't forget, you can spend corruption at any time to pay any of those costs. Because if you ever run out of will, your character takes trauma and is out of the mission.
Mm.
I still got 4, so I think my will's good for now.
Nice. Okay. Ooh, that's a 6. You get to describe what happens.
I would say with Magda's roar catching the thing's attention at that exact moment when he sort of you kind of see that slow motion where he kind of looks towards it. That's the exact moment where he kind of lets go of this thing and it goes hurling off again. It's just as hard as it can. And at the very last second, I'd imagine he would notice it and go to move, but it's right there. So I would imagine it's gonna clip part of that webbing. For we'll say his right side gets clipped and basically takes out that portion of his ability to fly.
Yeah. I absolutely agree, and I think he's used to sort of relying on that for balance, kind of like a cat uses their tail, and without that side, he just goes tumbling right off the side of the catwalk and disappears out of view, but you hear him hit the ground. And it's a substantial noise. Okay, so he is currently out of view, but you guys can take an action.
Cool. So they're still in that catwalk?
No, he fell from the catwalk
okay.
and fell straight down, and that's why he's out of view right now. He's behind one of those tankers.
So then I think, I don't know if I would know well enough after seeing it, but would I be able to use Fangs of Judgment?
Fangs of Judgment. I don't have it pulled up. Can you?
That's spending one will to empower natural weapons within righteous power of law against beings which have fallen from their original purpose to service of the worm.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah. And such creature takes 2 additional wounds from the Philodoc's natural weapons. It includes corrupted spirits, but sadly excludes Banes.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that will... I mean, you wouldn't know 100% for sure, but I can tell you that, yeah, that will work on him.
Okay. Perfect.
So, yeah, if you activate that, if it has a
Oh, yeah.
cost...
yeah, that
tell me.
is... how many will? 1 will.
You can
so I'm
describe
gonna...
what that looks like.
So they're already in their... You know, everybody's similar form right now with the Kronos. But as soon as they fall, it's almost kind of like a dog seeing a treat, where Spark just books it towards them, and somehow they become like even more feral, and their claws become almost sharper, and their teeth become just like that much more frightening looking. And they find their way towards whatever the hell this thing is, and they just look at them like, I pity you, and they go in for an attack.
Okay. Yeah.
With their weapon.
Yeah, we'll say you get up on top of the tanker, and you still can't see them, but you know they've got to be relatively close.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'll take another action to find them.
Yeah,
But,
that's fine.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Anybody
I
else?
assist in finding them then. I could either survey or use Pulse of the Prey,
Oh,
perhaps.
sure. What does that do?
Which allows me, as long as you know something about your prey, you can track it anywhere at your highest speed,
Nice.
even deep in the Umbra. Hunting spirit requires a gnosis roll with a penalty equal to the spirit's tier.
Oh, is that the standard, like the standard werewolf thing, or is that the one that we did?
It's the one that we have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's just most of them don't require a roll. So okay, cool. You said it's a gnosis roll with a difficulty what?
A penalty equal to the spirit's tier.
Okay.
So Kale would hone their senses and try to zero in on our foe to assist Iliot in finding them and landing their blow.
Okay. So he is tier 3. So it'll be your gnosis dice minus 3.
Alright, so 2 dice.
Yep.
Here we go.
Ooh. That is a 3. So looks like you might have to be resisting some consequences. I'm going to say that actually, since it's a gift, it's not going to be regular consequences. I think what it is it's more meant to work on spirits. And he has a spiritual component for sure if he's any kind of werewolf, but maybe it's masked in some way, and you sniff the air for him, and you're like, because I know XYZ about him, I have a very strong feeling he's a black spiral dancer, and things like that. But when you sniff the air, none of those markers that you expect to be there are there. And you get really worried that there might be something else going on, or something that your character just doesn't know yet.
Kale would definitely convey that information to the rest of the pack telepathically to make sure that they are also on their guards regarding that foe.
Mm-hmm. It is at that time that the shaking of these oil tanker looking things reaches a fever pitch, and you see one of them, just an explosion out of the side of it, and this ball of green ectoplasm shoots out of it, toward you guys from behind, and then another one zooms out through the same hole and flies toward you guys. You recognize them instantly as toxic Bane spirits. And you can tell that some of the other tankers are probably going to blow in short order. Hype Ghost is very much a toxic Bane. Very nice.
That was appropriate.
Yeah, awesome. I didn't even know about that emote.
Got that one on one random drop.
Neat. All right.
How many tankers are there in this room?
Let's see. I think you guys saw 8. So potentially, if there's 2 in every one, 16 Bane spirits.
So there's that one that's already been chopped up into 2 pieces. Now there's 2 more big ones that are out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should probably keep the others from coming out if we can. This is the first order of business, is make sure no others decide to pop out. Did you cut that fire dude's fire tank in half when you cut him in half, Magda?
Don't think
No.
so.
Sweet. I'm gonna pick that up and put it on.
These things are weak to fire, probably.
I guess we'll find out.
Okay. Yep, Magda, you strap it on. It's feels like it's at least 3/4, if not fuller, of fuel.
Okay, I'm gonna figure out how to work it really quick. I assume I'm gonna have to be in Glabro form to use this.
Yeah, most likely.
So,
you want to make
I'm
a
gonna-
rage roll?
No, I'm gonna spend rage.
It'd be rage minus 1 die.
Okay, I can probably swing that. I guess we'll find out.
I just want to confirm, just at the risk of shooting myself in the foot, the one that exploded, that wasn't the one that I had been fighting the other one on. It was a different one.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that's off to the side that hadn't been touched before.
Just wanted to make sure in case I needed to take damage or whatever.
No, and it just sort of blew out. It blew a hole in the side, but it didn't. Did you roll in the wrong chat?
Did I?
I think you rolled in.
Did I roll on Tuesday?
We're in
I'm so
special
used to
event.
clicking Tuesday.
Well, here, I'll take your roll from.
It's okay.
Okay. Oh, damn. Well, that's some dice. Okay. Yeah, you have no problem turning into Glabro form. You want to describe what that looks like and what you're doing?
Yeah, so Glabro form is smaller, more like a tall guy, a buff tall guy. You have more use of like your individual fingers to stick in a trigger and use that. So I assume that because the backpack would probably fit on my body better this way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I decided to go with this form for now. It's also, you also still have access to all of your regeneration stuff. So if I get hit by this guy, I could regenerate just as easily as I could in Krynos form.
Yeah. It's kind of like your classic Wolfman, just quite a bit stronger than they usually show those to be. All right. Fantastic. Yeah, you slide the thing on your back and you check the trigger and you hear you light the thing with the trigger button and you can hear there's just a tiny flow of gas coming out of the end of it and it's ready to go whenever you get close. But you're about 30 feet up and about 60 feet away from everybody else.
So I was thinking I would run over to where they propped the truck up and just kind of slide down the truck.
Okay. So you can get in real fast?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to roll for that? Because I think that's a little bit of a dangerous...
Let me see. I'm not trying to be stealthy about it. I guess like a finesse?
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay. And let's roll that in the special event channel.
I'm going to say risky standard.
Okay. I only have one die for this, so let's see how it goes.
Hey, it's a partial success.
Hey.
All right. I think when you hit the bottom, you accidentally let the tip of the weapon slam against the ground, and when it does, the sort of pilot light goes out and gets a little bent. So you're going to need to spend a little bit of time, maybe a craft roll or something, to get it back in working order. So let's have someone else take an action while you're working on that.
Where did that scythe land after it was thrown?
So Leon's was basically a bow staff.
Mine's a scythe.
Yeah, Sparks is a scythe, and Sparks still has theirs.
Yeah.
The bow staff that Leon threw is about 150 feet away, but it does not look like it's in the same place where the Black Spiral Dancer fell. So.
I don't suppose you can pull a few more parts off that truck you're standing on, so we're not touching these things.
I mean, I'd be more than happy to try to get as many as I can. They may not be the same quality, but I can just start tearing them off and going.
Hey, anything that we can use to hit these things.
Actually, all of you could make maybe a group craft roll and just get as many of these as you can manage. So, if you're interested, you're all strong enough for sure.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
I have a flamethrower and an axe, so I think I'm going to be good.
Spark, you going to stick with what you already have? Okay, so just the three of you, with Hammond leading.
That's fine. I would suggest if we're doing this, I would say if two people want to focus on like getting melee weapons together, then one of us could probably do like little like shrapnel pieces, stuff that we can like keep even more distance, like stuff that can just take off small chunks of them, things like that.
Okay. I'll say standard effect for that.
Make some ninja stars.
Yeah. Kel can handle the ninja stars. They're the ninja.
Uh-oh, did the thing decide to go down again?
No.
No.
Jesus Christ, this fucking... this site... I pay so much money for them to... for this to run.
Didn't work.
And I'm gonna try restarting.
Oh yeah, it's down.
Yeah. 8 dice, nice.
Well, do you mind if we take a break really quick?
Yeah.
I need to grab some stuff.
Yeah, let's take a break. I'll see what I can do about getting this dice bot running again, and we'll be right back. right, welcome back. Thank you for putting up with our delays and our weird dice spot issues. We have figured out a way around it. It's, as you can tell, it's not the most beautiful way of handling it, but it'll work. It'll roll. So, okay. Where we left off, 2 toxic bane spirits. Also, I did want to say thank you, Bloody Rose White Wolf, for the 6-month subscription. We have only been streaming for 1 year. We're actually coming up on our 1-year anniversary on the exact date of Night Sky Sanctum's return next week. September 13th will be our 1-year anniversary on Twitch. So, yeah. Thank you, Bloody Rose. Yeah, that is awesome. So, yeah, thank you, everybody. And don't forget, it's September, whatever that means. It just means that subscriptions are discounted. So, you know, if you're going to sub and you have the extra funds, you know, at least make use of it while it's around. But anyway, so thank you. All right, so 2 Bane Spirits had emerged from one of the tankers. Magda got the flamethrower. Thank you, Robot Rainbows.
You mentioned the sale, so...
Thank you. It sucks every time you do something, it covers up your face.
I can live with that. It builds up, like, momentum or something.
Anticipation. When's Mia coming back?
Exactly.
After 5.5 seconds of the moon showing up on the screen. Awesome. Oops. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Cast Them. Leon, Kiel, and Hammond were working together to craft some sort of makeshift throwing stars and bow staffs so that they don't have to put their hands on any of this disgusting stuff that's coming toward them. You watch as those toxic spirits appear to kind of hang back. They stay about 15 to 20 feet away from you and are just sort of bobbing menacingly in the air as if they're waiting for something to happen before they strike. And so I think, let's see, we're going to need to do some rolls. So I think there was a 2 dice roll for, a 0 dice roll for Mia. Is that right,
Kiel
or is it 1?
No, it's 0. Kiel is not... I was wondering if I should assist someone instead, but no, I will try even with my 0.
All right.
Can I try to assist with survey because I have nothing in craft?
When you do a group action, everybody has to roll the same action.
Okay,
but,
then I got nothing either.
But you will be able to take a separate action if you'd like. So that you can gain some more information while they're doing it. So let's get these rolls out quickly. So first we're going to start with the 0 dice roll for Mia, and that came up as a 1. On the positive side, you gain an experience point. No, this is not desperate. So Hammond, that's going to be 1 will that you have to spend.
Okay.
And then, let's see, Leon, how many dice are you rolling for craft?
I have 1 in it, and then I want to spend the extra point for the extra dice.
Okay, awesome. And that came up a 4, so partial success. And Hammond?
I have a 0 in craft, alas.
Do you want to spend anything? Or just hope you hope you do well on 2 dice, take the lowest.
I mean...
You can spend corruption to get an extra die.
Yep.
I mean, may as well.
Okay. So that brings it up from 2 dice, take the lowest, to 1 die. Take whatever you get. And that's a partial success.
Nice.
Okay, so that only cost Hammond 1 will, plus whatever you spent corruption-wise or for your craft. So yeah, we got partial success for the overall action. So I think what that looks like is you got 2 more bow staffs, which is enough for the 2 of you. And you got a couple of chunks of metal that definitely look like they could be thrown, but they're not going to be anything like aerodynamic. They are a bit sharp, but you were only able to chunk off about 2 of those before you hear more exploding sounds, and the 2 toxic banes are joined by an additional 12 for a total of 14 banes that are now swirling around, keeping their distance currently between themselves. Thank you for the sub, Alptron Fairy emoji. Ooh, your 2nd month, awesome! And I know you would have been here, you would have been subbed for a million years if you could. Thank you so much. Awesome.
I'm good like that.
What's that?
Did 12 come out of a single, or did all of the rest of them explode?
All of the rest of them exploded, yeah.
Right.
All right. So, yep, and they are now oozing toxic waste onto the floor. So a puddle of toxic waste is starting to sort of hem you guys in between that truck that's on its side and the rest of the room. The interesting thing that you almost immediately notice is that some of the toxic waste is diverting into these divots in the floor that you had barely noticed before. It just looked like possibly tracks for some kind of loader equipment to run on, but it is filling up those divots, and you notice that the divots are, now that some of the trucks have moved from the explosions, in the shape of a large spiral.
Oh no.
All right. Spark, you were going to survey?
Yeah, because I already hopped down trying to figure out where this person was, but if I could also find what... Also, I get the assist to try to... from Mia, too. Or from Kiel, so... I know I have that, but also if there's anything around that I can see that might help the group otherwise, I would like to try and help that.
Yeah, I would say probably getting to a high vantage point might be the best way to survey.
Okay, I'll do that.
So...
That'll be 2 for survey.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to say with these... beasties floating around in the air, it's going to be risky because you're just kind of putting yourself out there separate from everybody else, but you might not have to be up there for very long. All right, 5, that's a partial success. So what does that look like? You're climbing?
Yeah, I'm using the weapons that have pretty much just grown even sharper on me, and I'm climbing up to anything that I can, be it one of the trucks or whatever's closest to me, where I can just have a good look of everything, where I can telepathically say there's this here if you go this way, or something kind of like that.
Yeah. What are you more interested in, since it's a partial success? Are you more interested in what's going on with the Black Spiral Dancer, or what's going on with the
Spiral Dancer?
Okay, awesome. In that case, yeah, you get your eyes on him 100%, and you see him dragging his claws against the floor, and sharpening them. He's probably using razor claws, except as he's dragging his claws across the floor, you see that acidic liquid is dripping out of them.
Oh no.
And he turns his head and spots you. Yeah. From your vantage point, if you wanted to get over to him, it wouldn't be too terribly difficult.
I'm going to.
What's that?
I'm going to.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Okay, so what do you want to do to him, or what?
So I want to try to actually slice off his hands,
Okay, all right. How?
or at least do some damage to them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You've got something a little bit better than razor claws on right now, so
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Would that be with Savage?
Yeah, it absolutely could be. Savage is basically saying, I'm going all in with the attack, not defending myself. I'm just
Oh yeah, then
trying
that
to
would
do
be
as
for
much damage
2.
as I can. Awesome. Okay. What do you got for that?
I have 2. In the sheet, it marks in 3, but for some reason I couldn't mark the second box. But I can mark the third box, so...
Yeah, those sheets were made for designing characters, not for long-term play, because I thought we were going to be playing one session, so I didn't think we were going to be growing the characters. But yeah,
It's fine.
Okay. 2, and do you want to use any rage or corruption to...
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do a point of rage and a point of corruption, if I could do one of each.
Okay, so you're going for increased effect and an extra die.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to say that is increased effect, and because you know he has already seen you, and you're going in sort of without a care for your defense, I'm going to say it's desperate.
Cool.
So you gain an XP in rage for that.
Hell yeah.
And here's the roll. All right, a 5. So that's a partial success. You want to go ahead and describe? Let's see. Partial success with claws, and you've got that special effect on which increases the effect. I'm gonna say with a partial success, you're able to get one of his hands. So you can describe what that's like.
So as they're on top of whatever it is, metal hunk of something, this demented sort of cackle comes out because they're in Kranos form. Their speech is they were able to garble out "I pity you" because
Nice.
that's 3 words beforehand.
Yeah.
And then their laughter just gets louder, and they just fling themselves towards them and take a good swoop at one of their hands that is clearly dripping poison, and they try to put some distance after they do that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you swipe, and you're even just a little bit surprised that his skin wasn't thicker, tougher, or he had hell's hide or something. But his claw just snaps right off and falls to the floor. And he lets out a short but loud whimper. But then his other hand comes up and he slashes you across the face. Because it was a partial success, that's going to be 2 levels of supernatural damage. If you want to resist that, that would be rage.
Can I
I got it.
Second.
What's your idea?
I just want to clarify which hand
The other one.
off. Realistically, if I damage the right side, that side's already going to be kind of gimpy and not as effective. And therefore, if they took off the left hand...
I did actually want to take off the left. That was my intent.
Gotcha.
So I would say that whatever he's hitting them for, I think should be affected in some way by the effect already had on his right side.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I think just the fact that it's supernatural damage and just cuts. Well, actually, I'm forgetting that. So it would normally be 4 levels of damage minus 2 because you're in Krynos form. So yeah, I could reduce that to 1 because it's kind of his. He's already a bit beat up on that side of his body.
So is it how many points of wound?
It's 1 point of supernatural damage and 1 point of corruption.
Okay, cool. Got it.
Awesome. Yeah, so he is looking pretty beat up at this point, but he kind of staggers back, and it looks like he's kind of taking a defensive posture at this point. All right. Who else?
Has Spark communicated with us the location?
I thought I said something about, like, if I saw the when they
Yeah.
were surveying
Yeah.
the area, I'd pop back to you guys, so vaguely
Yeah.
I did say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that
I
makes
would say
sense.
that would
On a
accurate.
survey, yeah. So yeah, you guys have a
Reacted in any way.
good idea of what, like, corner of the warehouse he's in.
Can I
You can
fix
definitely
this
tell by the
flamethrower?
scream.
What was that, Andrea?
Can I fix this flamethrower?
Yes. All right. Yeah. You don't need to make a roll for that. I think it's it just takes
I just
some
gotta
time.
bend it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then and let it cool down. Well, actually, you don't even have to let it cool down because you've got Master of
I
Fire
want it to be on fire.
All right. Yeah, you light it. It kind of crisps up your hand for a second, and then you recover in just a few seconds. And yeah, you are behind this this mass of Bane spirits right now.
Can I blast them and see if the fire hurts them?
Yeah, you sure can. What would you like to use for that?
I'm gonna savage them.
Makes sense. All right.
Because if I catch on fire, it's not that big of a deal.
Right. All right.
But so yeah, I'm just gonna
How many
wave it all around, and that's 3 dice.
Oh,
and
wow.
set as many of them on fire as I can.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to say that's risky and they are a type of water elemental, so I'm going to say it's reduced effect. But you got a 6. So I think that means that maybe the 2 closest to you, you're able to take out. You can describe that.
Okay. So what I'm going to say happens is there's a chemical reaction with the toxic waste in the water, and when the fire hits it, it catches the toxic waste on fire, kind of like oil on top of water. And when the toxic waste is burned off, the water just whooshes to the floor.
Awesome. Yeah, and 2 of them just sort of melt out of existence, and this disgusting haze rises up off of them. And then all of the other ones, the other 12 that are remaining, 6 of them face Kiel, Leon, and Hammond, and the other 6 face Magda, and the 2 make their offensives. So you guys can choose whatever actions you want to take to fight back against them.
I'm gonna continue to savage as long as I can.
Okay. I'm going to say, since you've got 6 on you, the reduced effect is going to go to no effect. So you'll need to use something to raise the effect level back up. That's if because you would be trying to kill all of them. Unless you want to try to break them into smaller groups.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better idea,
Okay.
is to try to break them into a smaller group, or at least like just focus on the 2 that get the closest.
Okay. All right.
I
The
think
Deathbeard. Thank you so much.
ooh.
Is that you?
I think at this point, Kiel would want to get out of there.
For sure.
So would they be able to use their hair's leap to get away and closer to where Spark is at this point?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And would I be able to reach our current opponent, the Spiral Dancer?
Yeah. You can do that. I don't think that'd even cost you. I think it's usually a will to do the triple distance jump.
Yeah.
But I think a double will do it, so you don't even have to spend anything. All right, so we'll have Spark and Kiel are over there facing off against the Black Spiral Dancer. Hammond and Leon have 6 toxic Bane spirits on them, and Magda has 6 on her, but she's trying to sort of lead them around in such a way that she can pick off like 2 of them. All right, for Magda, that's going to be Desperate Reduced Effect.
Can I spend some corruption
Yeah.
to increase the effect?
Yep, that'll go standard effect. You can.
Okay.
You have a chance of picking off 3 with standard effect.
Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna spend. How many corruptions do I need to spend?
1 if you're just trying to get increased effect. 2 if you want increased effect and an extra die.
I'm happy with my 3 dice.
Okay. All right. Standard effect. That's a partial success.
Okay,
So what does that look like?
same kind of deal. I'm kind of running around like a crazy person, flailing this fire stick around and trying to poke as many of them as I can.
Okay.
And so, how many?
You're able to dispatch 2 of them, and you notice that you've got like 1 good long burst left in you before the before it runs out of fuel.
Okay.
Let's jump over to Hammond and Leon. What are you all doing?
Alright, how good are you at throwing things, Leon?
I mean, I took out a wing earlier.
It's true.
That's a good point. You're okay, so you start with you throwing a thing at these guys, and then I can go on them and try and rail on them with the stick.
I would say that's great. I would say, though, I mean, I'm going to try my hardest to whip them at them, but the very least of this, I think it should serve as a distraction. These things aren't very smart, so, even if I can make a noise behind them to get them to turn or something, then at least you can get in and wallop the hell out of them.
So
good idea.
rather than a group action, this would be Hammond taking an action and Leon giving an assist.
Sounds accurate to me.
Okay. So that'll cost Leon 1 will, or 1 corruption, your choice. And Hammond, that'll give you 1 extra die for whatever you want to do.
But certainly want to savage the heck out of these things.
Okay.
Now, if I spend a corruption, that means I add a check mark to the corruption, not take away from it, right?
Correct.
I'm going to do a corruption then.
Okay. Hammond, how many dice is that?
See, I have the 1 check mark in savage.
Okay. And then 1 more from Leon?
Yeah.
And do you want to spend any rage to increase the die or increase the effect?
Yes. I would.
Which one? You can spend rage to increase it by another die or increase effect. This is going to be... what are you trying to do? Are you sort of trying to whack 1 out of the sky? What's the idea with Savage?
How close are they together?
They're kind of flying around in a circle, looking for an opening, and I'd say that circle is maybe 10 feet in diameter. And they're about, when you stand up tall with your reach, they're well within your reach.
Okay, I'll try and do a good swipe across all of them in that circle then.
Okay.
So yes, I'd like to spend a rage to increase that, please.
Okay. Increase the dice or increase the effect. So, standard it's probably trying to attack all 6 of them at once is probably going to be reduced effect. So if you spent the rage to increase the effect, that would get you up to standard effect.
that sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
I think I'll do that.
All right. So 2 dice and standard effect. All right. Partial success. All right. So I'm going to say one of them avoids your weapon and is not impacted by Leon's distraction. And it rushes in and just sort of lands on your shoulder and just starts eating away the flesh and fur on your shoulder. That's gonna do 4 wounds and 2 corruption. And then but the other 5 between the 2 of you, you are able to dispatch. And you can spend rage if you want to reduce some of that damage.
I think I'm good for now.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So between the 2 of you, you guys just sort of juke them around, and Leon sort of lines one up for you, and you go in like it's a toxic piñata and just burst their bubbles. All right. That leaves 1 that's still hanging around the 2 of you, and I think, Magda, you have 4?
4?
Yeah, 4 remaining. So let's jump over to Kiel and Spark. You guys have this Black Spiral Dancer kind of on the run, with nowhere to run to, so the worst kind of on the run. And you're not sure what he's capable of, so you really, even with one hand and the other arm messed up, you're not 100% sure what you're in for, so...
No.
What are you 2 thinking?
Let me see.
I think if that works for Spark, Kiel would very much like to assist by distracting the Spiral Dancer.
Okay.
By jumping at them and biting them, or just getting their attention so that Spark would have a clear shot at perhaps wounding them
So when you do that,
completely.
I'm down for that, but I was wondering, could I use Voice of the Jackal ritual?
What does that do?
If the behavior of a Garu has shamed not just themselves, but their entire sept and or tribe, this may be a viable punishment. Right Master blows a handful of dust or ashes onto the offender and speaks, "Because thy cowardice, gluttony, selfishness has proved thee to be jackal blood, let thy voice proclaim thy true breed." And as the dust or ashes lands on the target, their voice changes, cause them to speak an annoying, piercing nasal whine until the right master repels the punishment.
Yeah. Does it have like a length of time that ritual takes at the top?
A minute.
A minute? Yeah. I think, the distraction would definitely help you get that minute. Is there an action roll for it?
Nope.
Okay.
Just a ritual.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna take more of an action from Kiel than just a distraction to keep them in that corner for that long without them being able to attack. So Kiel, what would you do to try to keep them from attacking either you or Spark for a minute?
Are there, we're near buildings, right, and that catwalk that was around earlier, are there pieces of buildings that look like they might fall or something like that? Like weaknesses? Can I spot something of that kind?
Yeah, they're all about 200, 300, somewhere between 200 and 300 feet from you is where the damage was done. It's pretty It's pretty far away. There is like a staircase over here that you could probably do some damage to if you wanted to, get some parts or something. Because there's a staircase that leads up to that bunker where he jumped down from. But none of this area is damaged. There are some gouges in the floor from where he was doing his acid claws. But that's about it.
In that case, I might just try to savage them as hard as I can to keep the distraction going for long enough.
Okay.
Because Kel would have been looking for something to make fall on them or to keep them prone, but in that case, they would try to use their whole body to keep them prone and give Spark some time.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I think Savage, you're more likely to just kill him outright. You might want to try like melee, which is where you're trying to hold him down. It's kind of more like wrestling, where you're trying to stop him from being able to attack you. So if you're up for that, I think that gives you the best chance of success.
Yeah, but I would spend probably 1 rage and 1 corruption to give myself some dice because I have 0.
All right. A rage will give, one of the points will give you an extra die, and then another one will give you increased effect.
Okay. Perfect. We'll try that.
All right. So how many dice does that give you in total?
I believe 1. It gives me 1.
And you had none?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had none. Okay. Indeed.
All right. So this is going to be desperate, and with the increased effect, it's going to be extra effect if you're successful. All right. It's a partial success. So while you're wrestling around with him and you have him on the floor, and because you have 1 whole arm, you don't have to worry about it all. So you're really able to focus on just like holding his head to the ground and keeping his acid dripping claw from attacking you and Spark. And for the most part, you're holding him down. But he kind of starts to wiggle out from underneath you. And when he does, you put your focus more toward his hand because of the acid, and his mouth comes up and bites you on the shoulder. And you can spend a point of rage if you want to reduce some of that damage.
I'll take the damage.
Okay.
I'll take the damage. It means I wrestled on the floor with a character voiced by Morningstar, so that's fine. It's all good.
Nice.
I'll take the punishment. It's coming to me anyway.
Okay. You would take 5 points of supernatural damage, but because you're in Krynos form, it gets reduced down to 3.
Okay.
So 3 points of supernatural damage, no acid on his bite. It was only on his claws. Awesome. And so, Spark, your ritual, it concludes. You want to describe what happens?
So, as Spark does the ritual, they gather all of like the ashes and the dust they can find because this is probably a grimy warehouse.
It is, yeah.
And they just go as they're struggling as they see what Kiel is doing. They just kind of look at them sideways, throw the ashes, and are just like, because of I'll go with because of thy selfishness. Thou hast proved thee to be a jackal of blood. Let thy voice proclaim thy true breed. And when it lands on them, as the description says, their voice changes it and causes them to speak in an annoying, piercing nasal whine until me, the right master, repels the punishment.
Nice.
So they sound like a squeaky little freaking dog.
Yep. Yeah, and that is more or less the worst possible thing you could do for this character. Because he does have an air of vanity about himself and his voice, which is understandable because it was hot. But yeah, that yelp that you heard earlier becomes basically one of the few noises that he's still able to make despite his throat seeming to be in full working condition. Kjell, you're able to continue holding him down, and unless you, but yeah, you're going to be stuck there until you find some other way of keeping him stationary. And
That's very okay.
there are a lot of Banes that are still trying to cause damage, so. Alright, Magda, you've got the most Banes on you right now.
I kind of want to save the rest of this fire for the Black Spiral Dancer guy.
Okay.
So I'm going to holster the fire stick, and I'm going to pull out my axe and just kind of do a link and do a spin.
Okay. Melee or...
I'm going to do savage because
Savage,
if they get
that
me
makes
at this
sense.
point, then, it is what it is.
Alright. Is that 3 dice?
Yeah.
And anything you want to add to that?
So I can spend a rage to get an extra die?
Yep, an extra die, and you can spend another to get increased effect. Which, considering there's 4 of them, to get standard effect, you would need that.
What about if I spend the rage for just the effect and not the extra die?
Yep, that'll just
Okay.
let you have 3 dice. Awesome.
I'll do that. I'll do 3 dice with increased effect.
Awesome. All right. Ooh, that was so close to being a crit. Awesome. That's a complete success. You can describe what that looks like.
Let's see. Magda kind of picks up the axe and swings it. It's a very large battle axe, so it has a lot of heft to it. And since she is in Glabro form at the time, she can kind of lean back on her heel and use 1 foot for balance and 1 foot for spinning, and just lets the axe's weight take her around and hit as many of these guys as possible.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think because you're in Glabro form, you're actually supposed to get increased effect on melee. So, even better. That is exceptional effect. You slash through the 4 that were coming after you, and then one of the ones that was going after Hammond and Leon, you're able to dispatch as well. You just slash directly through their centers, and they dissipate in both directions. This leaves only one Bane Spirit, one toxic Bane Spirit that is bothering you, and the Black Spiral that's been wrestled to the ground. Alright. Leon, you want to take an action?
The only thing that I could think that would make sense is he'd probably try to dash over to the big bad and attempt to, take his little shrapnel piece and just either pierce him in the head or the heart or wherever he could get while Kel's having them pinned down.
Yeah. So they're kind of in the other corner of the room. You're in the middle of the room. But if you hopped up on the overturned tanker, you'd be able to at least see him for a ranged attack. But Kjell is literally on top of him, holding him down. So
Yeah, I don't like them odds. So
So the Bane is a much more pressing concern for where you're at right now.
then I guess he'd go in for some kind of melee attack on that. That's really all I've got.
All right, yeah, you've got a solid steel staff effectively. So, all right, what dice do you have on that?
I got 1 in melee, and then I'm gonna spend the 2 rage for the extra dice and the extra effect.
Okay. Alright, since there's only one of them, you're going to be at standard effects. This puts you at extreme effect. You're probably not even going to get any splashback on you if you get a decent roll. Alright.
Good.
Alright. And the result is a complete success. Ooh. You can describe what happens.
Is there anyone else that's actually around that thing, or is it just kind of there?
Hammond is pretty close to you, and Magda is coming back toward you with her axe. But you've got a pretty clear shot at it.
Okay, I would tell Hammond to back up just a little bit, like try to get him out of the way. With a success like that, he's just going square in. He's going hard. He's going fast. He's just going to tear this thing apart. The sludge flying every which way, and making extra careful to make sure it doesn't land on anyone near them as he just goes to town on it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. You smack it once, and it flies up against the side of one of the tankers and sort of sticks there. And then you step up and just wail on it like you've got, the world's biggest baseball bat, until it just oozes ectoplasm down the side of the tanker and then just sort of vanishes. Awesome. So, Spark and Kiel, what do you want to do for your the jackal-voiced Black Spiral dancer that you have?
Oh, yes. I'm going to use persuasion and ask him to tell us everything. And he has to say it in his squeaky cute smile.
You might have to imagine it. I don't think I can do a
no.
squeaky voice, but
no, we can imagine.
Okay. Yeah. So that's gonna
like
give you...
Imagine like in Up when the voice changer changes on the one big scary dog. That's what it sounds like.
I need to watch that movie at some point.
Do it when you have spoons for feels in the first 5 minutes.
I've heard. Okay. Okay, so the gift that you're using gives you increased effect automatically. And I'm going to say you also have increased effect from the fact that he's wrestled to the ground and vocally emasculated.
And I'm using command, which I have 2 dice in.
Nice. Okay. So I'm going to say this is only risky. And... Alright, you got a partial success, but you're at extreme effect. So, let's see. I think he whines out that he is going on to the afterlife, and so is this pitiful world. And you watch him bite down on a fang in the back of his mouth. And you kind of hear it crunch, and then foam starts escaping his mouth as he swallows some silver cyanide mixture.
Howard. And that is in character.
Yes, he took the coward's way out.
Man, I wanted to set him on fire.
I mean, you still can.
Yeah, that's true. It is at this time that you notice that the ooze that was creeping around the spiral has just reached the center. And it all starts to brighten and starts sort of shining green light off the floor. Everybody that's standing over some of the this toxic ectoplasm, you start to feel like heat bubbling up from it, and it forces you to sort of move off of the spiral itself. And you can hear it bubbling in that little, that tiny little, V-shaped chasm that it has sunk into. And it just starts to brighten up the entire room. And it looks like whatever was happening there is just about to make itself known. So we will take a quick break, and we'll come right back and tell you what's happening. All right, be right back.
A people baby.
All right, we're back, and there's a little baby. Awesome. Gotta love a little baby.
There's a little kitten baby, but he ran off to
Aw.
go. Yeah, he ran off to go use his litter box, so I can't blame him.
Better than using your lap. So. Awesome, and I think the dice bot is back, so...
Yes.
Awesome. Just in time for the grand finale. So, the heat from the spiral starts to... You can smell metal actually being leached into the air. It's so hot, it is burning through sections of the floor. And... yeah, it does not show any signs of abating. It seems like it's just gonna get worse.
Uh-oh.
Can anybody peek sideways? Peek into the Umbra?
It's gonna be really hard to do from a worm-tainted place like this, but whoever has the most gnosis...
I have 7 gnosis.
Damn.
That's a lot of gnosis.
That is.
Yeah, I've only used
I have
3.
5.
I have
It
6.
goes by your max.
I've only got 4.
Oh yeah, then 7.
I have
Nice.
1.
And I have 1 in attune. So
Nice. All right, yeah. So, does anyone want to either try to completely step sideways into the spirit world, or at least shift your eyes so you can see what's happening in the spirit world? Okay. All right. Because you are in a heavily mechanized area that is heavily worm tainted, you're going to be subtracting 5 dice from your dice pool to peek sideways.
Okay.
You can do it.
I'll use 1 corruption.
Okay.
And any gnosis that I would have been used up from that, I believe, since I used 2 last time, so then I could use the rest of that to be the 5 reduction.
Oh, it doesn't cost
Or-
5.
it doesn't
you
cost
just
5?
roll your 7 minus the penalty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you get to roll 2 dice, and
Okay.
it doesn't cost you any.
If I use corruption, would it be 3 dice?
Indeed.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Awesome.
I'm using a command from a different Discord.
Oh no, okay, it is not the worst possible thing. You got a partial success. So I think what that means is there are Bane spirits flying around you at such a rapid rate from the spirit world that it's nearly blinding. And you're worried that their corruption and their taint is going to leach out through the barrier of the spirit world, what they call the veil. But you stick it out, and just as you're about to give up hope, the Banes part, and you can see what looks like a pregnant belly emerging from the ground that's about 15 meters wide. And that is what they are circling around.
I telepathically relay this as it's going on.
All right. And
Is there a willow or a birch tree around, perchance? Gonna need a branch.
not in the spirit world. Not that you could get your hands on. But yeah, then you get slammed again by Banes, and it's enough to push you back out. But yeah, some good information there. Something is forcing its way into the physical world through the spirit world.
Well, that was absolutely disgusting. They say back. You guys are lucky you didn't see that. I nearly gagged.
So you said a willow branch?
Either one works.
We could do a flashback. If for the chance that one of you had one, or wants to talk to the spirits of Gaia that sent you here and see if they would have sent one along with you. I'm gonna say that would be like a one will flashback. If you want to
I'd
do
be
that.
down. I think Kiel could do that if we wanted to.
Would Kiel know what a willow branch is for?
Um,
Do you have any attune?
Probably not. No, probably not.
Okay.
That's true.
Gotcha.
There.
Yeah, maybe someone else with attune would know. Hammond
Am I
definitely
the only?
would know.
Oh yeah, Hammond, do
Yep.
it.
Hi.
You want to? Okay. Yeah, I would say for one will or corruption, you could make an attune roll and see if you sort of had the forethought and the ability to get that from Gaia on your way in.
Okay. I think I'll use corruption then.
Okay. And I'm gonna say that's controlled standard effect. You can choose how you what you wanna use for that. Spirits usually like to be consorted with. That is their preferred method of communication.
I do have a check mark in consort.
Nice.
So...
And you're a theurge, right? So you can speak with spirits. Awesome. Well, perfect. Do you want to use any Gnosis to increase that effect or add an extra die? Or both?
Definitely yes.
Okay. Both?
Both.
Okay. So that's going to be controlled, greater effect, and +1 die. So you can go ahead and roll that. Aww. Okay. So I think what this looks like is Gaia says that
No brain for you.
that she could have pulled it from your sleeping body, but you didn't have one at your side. But she will give you a branch as you requested, despite your failure of forethought, and that was the last thing you heard before you all appeared together from her. And when you arrived, you immediately felt an immense pain in your guts. And everything you've done up to this point has been with a willow branch inside of your body.
Lord, okay.
So it's going to take you a significant amount of work to get that out.
Okay then. How exactly am I going to do that?
What's your breed form?
That would, I think, would be Krynos.
Oh, because you're Metis. Oh,
Yeah.
damn! Oh, shit. So that means that you regenerate in all forms. So that means whoever helps you get this out of you is going to have to do supernatural damage to you, because otherwise you'll just regenerate the damage faster than they can do the surgery.
I think Magda should do it.
Yeah.
I do have razor
an
claws. I
axe.
can try to do it quickly,
Yeah.
precisely as I
Agreed.
I can I
Okay.
put in an assist with that because I still have my my things at one above Razor Claws to just try to assist
Well,
somewhere.
Those only work on things that have fallen to the worm.
Okay, never mind.
Luckily, she hasn't fallen, or he hasn't fallen to the worm.
Yeah.
Not yet. Maybe
All
after
right.
this surgery.
Oh god.
All right.
Hope
So
not.
what do you all want to do? What's the action? What does it look like?
I would like to survey what's going on and keep an eye on the whole boiling light green thing that's going on in the middle there. probably more let Magda do her thing with Hammond and just make sure nothing's coming at us in the meantime.
Okay, so you're giving backup.
Yeah.
And okay, gotcha. Anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca says, "Everybody tear at the same time."
So I was gonna say, I'll do the splitting if I can get some clamping help. So, like, they stick their fingers in and hold it apart. Hold your body open so you can get the branch out.
I'll help with that.
Okay,
That's my yeah.
so that's an assist from Leon, and Magda's gonna make a roll.
Yeah. I'm gonna savage. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
I think.
I was... Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, while you're doing that, I want to do Dance of Lights to meditate on a light source to have an epiphany from the GM
Ooh.
for an action roll to find an answer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
It only costs a minute.
Yeah. Okay, so I think Hammond has a decent idea of where it is, judging from the pain that Hammond's been enduring for the last 20 odd minutes. But if somebody could sort of douse, or maybe Spark, you'll even get an epiphany of the best place to go in. I think that could definitely add an extra die to Magda. You want to describe what that looks like? You said you're focused on a light source.
Yeah, as all the chaos is going on and we have a swift moment of reprieve, I just kind of focus on the light source and think, all right, well, that was disturbing and disgusting. What can I do next after that horror show I just saw? And then I see them gathering around this, them saying something in the head about the stomach and the branch. I'm like, the frick do you mean? And then I'm like, oh, there! And they point over to the best area where it would be to get out of the stomach. So they're pointing and they say there in their head.
Okay. Awesome. And then Magda's gonna raise her claws her way in. All right.
Yeah.
What action do you want to use for that?
I think I'm gonna go with the finesse.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because I don't want to cause too much damage. I just want to cause, the bare minimum to get what we need to get out.
All right.
So
I say that's risky, standard effect.
Okay. I'm gonna spend a corruption to get extra die.
Yeah, I can see why it would be corruption.
Yeah. Okay.
You're tearing open the stomach of your pack leader.
Yeah. It feels very bad.
Yeah.
It feels very wrong.
That's a partial success. So I'm gonna say that if you were not in Krynos form, that would have done 3 levels of supernatural damage, but because you're a Krynos, that only does 1 level of supernatural damage.
Actually, I'm Glabro right now.
In that case, I meant because Hammond is in Krynos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am the one getting gutted.
That's actually a really good thing, because otherwise you'd have reduced effect.
Okay.
Glabro is perfect. All right. Awesome. Yep, you have a 8-inch or so long stick that you have pulled out of Hammond's guts.
This is what you needed.
Yep, it sure is.
Gift from Gaia.
Thanks, Gaia.
That's for sure.
Yep, okay. This is a good time to do cleansing ritual. Ow.
Rite of cleansing?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep, that's what I needed this branch for. Ow.
Okay. In that case, I guess it's a race against the clock. So I'm going to say finishing the rite of cleansing is going to be a 10 clock, and the creature emerging into the world is going to be a 10 clock. So we'll make them racing clocks. And what would you all like to do? Just start the ritual?
Yep.
As
All right.
quickly as possible.
Group action?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
What are we rolling for that, though?
Attune.
Oh, that's fine with me.
Does
I have
anyone want
one
to
there.
sit out the ritual? You will.
I think I might sit it out.
So, if all of you work together as a silver pack, it's going to give you double increased effect.
Okay. Okay, never mind.
If two of you sit it out, it's only going to have increased effect. And
Can I
if
put some Gnosis in
Hammond does
that?
it alone, you can only affect your own roll with Gnosis. But yes, you can. So you can add an extra die with Gnosis. Or
I will do
corruption.
that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens if I don't have any Gnosis left?
You can spend corruption.
Okay, I have one Gnosis. I guess I'll spin that Gnosis
Okay. For an
to
extra die.
get a singular die.
Right. For Spark, that's a fail.
No.
For Kiel, that's a fail. So that's
No.
2 will.
Oh my.
For Leon, that's a fail.
No.
For Andrea, that's a 6. And for Hammond, it's a fail. Okay, so Hammond, you have to spend 3 will or 3 corruption or any
3 corruption.
combination. Any combination you'd like. But the overall was a complete success. What that's going to do is that's going to fill in... It was double increased effect, so that's going to fill in 7 of the 10 clock segments. Your
yeah.
ritual is nearly complete, and the birthing has not even really truly begun yet. But it's going to take more. All right, what do you want to do now?
Are you going to roll for the birthing?
They don't roll. You guys got a complete success, so you guys filled your clock, and they don't get to fill theirs.
I guess we do it again.
As a group?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hammond, can you handle that if it's that bad? Yeah? Okay. All right, everybody can roll, and remember you can use Gnosis or Corruption to increase your dice by 1.
I'll spend another Gnosis
Okay.
for my roll.
Same.
Yeah, I will too.
All right. Magda got a partial success. So did Kiel. Spark got a partial success. And Leon got a partial success. And Hammond got 2 ones. Okay.
Oh,
So, Hammond, that's just going to cost you 1 will. But that is going to be a success. That's 7 more ticks on the clock, which means your clock is full. So, let's see. Let's say Hammond is leading the ritual, so do you want to describe what happens when you purify the area? What it looks like doing this ritual?
So basically, like this green circle on the ground, I'm gonna do like a bigger circle around that circle. In the dirt, I'm gonna put the circle in the ground, and then with the less than stellar looking branch that came out of me, that's gonna be dipped in the water, and it's gonna be sprinkling the water over this creature. And I don't know if it's gonna be making any noises of pain or anything, but I would imagine that, you know, it's has less and less of a presence as we go through this ritual.
Yeah, it's like it's only just barely starting to creep into the real world. You can see through it, but and by the time you're finished with the ritual, it is completely dissipated, and Spark is able to look back in the spirit world and Spark can see all of the Banes that had surrounded the area have all scattered to the four corners of the earth, trying to get away from this ritual. And the Black Spiral Dancer, did you guys kill him, or?
He killed
He
himself.
killed himself.
That's
Killed
right, he
himself,
did.
the
Okay,
bastard.
so he is no longer a threat as well. All right. And the five of you feel your bodies start to elongate, and the ground starts to just feel so much further away from you. It's almost like the reverse of how you got down here. As you sort of stretch upward, you feel yourself leaving the physical world and re-entering the dream space. And a voice tells you, a beautiful feminine voice tells you that the earth has another chance because of you, and that Gaia made the right choice in anointing you a silver pack, and says for you to say your goodbyes to one another. So, who wants to start?
Oh.
I think Hammond should go last.
I guess Magda's just like, heck yeah. Thanks for the good times and the good memories. Peace out.
Kiel?
Kiel would be very excited, but also pretty sad. A sad little puppy noises coming from this one. They would try. They would say, "I will try to find you guys. I will. I'll make that. I'll talk to my pack. We'll find you. We'll say hi."
If we exchange contact towels.
Yeah. Got a great nose.
Spark?
Spark, yeah. So Spark just goes, "It's all right. You guys are invited to any of my party nights. You might not know it, but like, I am quite the party animal. I absolutely like love this sort of thing when I'm not wanting to party, and I was gonna go to a party tonight, and this totally harshed my vibe, but I got to slit arm off and meet you guys. So you're welcome to come to any parties from the Songkeepers. A good and a good word for you."
Awesome. Leon?
Jokingly, he would say, if anybody ever needs work, there's always openings within my company. Even for you, Kel, I always need a good guard dog. But seriously, it's y'all made me realize the importance of not just trying to take over everything, and if we can find each other again outside, it would mean a lot.
Awesome.
If I'm being honest, I have quite the monstrous nature. So I'm glad that you've come to terms with that, because it's a lot to deal with. I'm proud of you, man.
Hammond?
Never would have dreamed in my life that I would lead a pack, particularly because I can't normally talk. So thank y'all for letting me lead you. I'm ridiculously happy that Gaia picked me to work with y'all, and I couldn't have asked for a better pack, so thank you.
Awesome. You all feel the distance between all of you suddenly start to separate, and you all vanish from each other's vantage points, and you awake in your own homes, in your own beds, just the way you laid down to sleep, with the memories of what happened still fresh in your mind for weeks and months to come. All right. And with that, we will say this is the end for now of Gaia's Vengeful Teeth. I think you guys did an absolutely magnificent job laying waste to the worm and all of its minions. So thank you all so much for being a part of this game with us. I had a great time.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's been awesome. It's been an awesome 2 games.
Yeah,
with,
I'm glad.
everyone.
Well, let's
Cool.
yeah, let's let everybody know where they can find us online, or not to find us online. Your choice. We'll start with Elliot.
Hi, everybody. I'm Elliot. I am Chaos Them on the internet. As for where you can find me on Chaos Them. But if you want to specifically figure out where I will be playing on things, follow Where is Chaos on Twitter. As for things coming up for me, we have our 10 Candles charity game that is officially this week. We had Scion last week, which was a blast. Thank you, Balsamic Games, for popping in that. Always great for that support. But we'll be back at that same channel playing 10 Candles as a slasher themed with teenagers, of course. And we actually have, because it's a charity, chance for one person to actually live. Depending on, we have certain things, because there's always one person that is the final girl.
Mm-hmm.
So we might have a possibility of one person living at the end, so that should be amazing. And that is lawful. That is on twitch.tv/thelawfulgeek. That will be on Friday. So check my socials. I've been promoting it on my Twitter, and I've been promoting it on the Where is Chaos Twitter as well. It'll be going on all week, so that's where you can catch that. And as always, I will be on the Bird's Playhouse on Sundays playing Pathfinder, and we're doing the Ruby Phoenix tournament. So we couldn't play last week because something came up with the cast, but hopefully we get to play that one more time before we hop into our regularly scheduled program of our GM's story. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome. Andrea?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at AndreaTimor42. You can find me on Instagram at Menagerie Nest. And if all goes well and my medicine doesn't make me want to throw up everywhere, I'm going to play a game on Friday. I think we're going to try
Cult of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb. So that should be fun.
That's a good one.
It's very fun.
Awesome. Mia?
So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Robot Rainbows. I'm a visual artist. I mostly draw, sometimes talk about my life occasionally. And I love pixel art and video games, so a lot of it is kind of centered towards that. Yeah, that's about it. My commissions are open. Give me a follow. Send me a DM if you'd like a drawing. All of my prices are listed on my page. And I mean, I've had a blast here. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
This was a great experience, and I look forward to Night Sky Sanctum next week.
Yeah. Well,
That's gonna be fun.
and even sooner than that, we'll be playing a private game on Friday.
Ooh.
The 90s vampires this Friday.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So,
We are playing
Yeah.
on Friday. Now I'm super excited.
and Andrea's going to be running that one. So
That's
yeah.
true. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Too bad it's not on stream. Haha, you guys don't get to see it.
Yeah, we might see if everybody has a good time. We might release it to Patreon supporters, but it'll all depend on how everybody feels and if everybody feels comfortable. So I'm not gonna cement us to that yet.
No
Okay.
promises.
Yeah. Sunshine.
Hello, I am known primarily as Sunshine Castleford on the internet, and right now I'm working with Ultrasonic Blur here on Twitch. I moderate their channel on Tuesdays and Saturdays, but this Saturday I'm going to be DMing a game called One Shot Tavern Hop with them, and we're basically gonna spend like a whole day in like each of these taverns as part of the Twisted Taverns book that I recently got. So it might be just a one-time thing, or it might be an ongoing thing where we look at each tavern in that book. We will see.
Neat.
Cool.
And Leon.
Cool.
I mean, sorry, Jay.
Guys, I'm Jay. I don't really have an online footprint, so to speak. I'm just a dad. So if you want to see pictures of my kids and dank ass depression memes, you can find me on Facebook. But that's about it.
Dank ass depression memes. That pretty much sums up our Discord too. Like 50% of the time. Thank you to Bloody Rose White Wolf for a lot of this. All right.
Then join the Discord also to see those memes.
Yeah, very good times. We have an amazing, nay, epic community on our Discord, and we are just about to break 100 members. But I swear, it feels like a 20-member Discord that has 100 members. So it's got like kind of the best of both worlds. It's small, but it's big, and there's a baby. Hello, baby. Awesome. So if you want to join us on awesome things like this was just a one-off that we did because some of our cast members were sick, and we love everybody for being willing to take part in this. If you want to join us when we do things like this, which they're kind of random and sporadic, but join our Patreon, because that's the pool of people we pulled from for playing this game. So that's patreon.com/Balsamic Games. We are releasing new grimoires for Children of Midnight. We just released the Hedge Witch last week, and we have a poll out where we're deciding what the next grimoire is going to be. So we have a super secret special grimoire that we are waiting for a contract to get signed before we can release, because it is based on a movie. We're waiting for the director to get back to us, but they said it's a tentative yes, but I still can't announce what it is yet. But yeah, so
That's gonna be so awesome.
yeah. The Hedge Witch is really, really cool. They go into the liminal shadow world, which is a lot like the Shadow. It's like a version of reality where nothing moves. Water is all completely still. Reflective surfaces show you potential futures and things like that. It's a super creepy place to be, but hedge witches go into the liminal shadow and can pop out in a different place in the real world and surprise enemies from behind and things like that. So they're a really cool thing, and we based them on a hedge witch that we learned about on a documentary called Hellier. So if you have Amazon, check out Hellier. It's a really good documentary about the Kentucky Goblins, and one of their members is a hedge witch, and she's awesome. So, I think that's about it. We will probably have an Andrea Plays this Friday, assuming she's not too tired from running 90s Vampire earlier that day, and the medicine doesn't kick her butt. And otherwise, we'll see you back here for Night Sky Sanctum next Tuesday, and we will have guest stars Navi and Drake, Sean, of Drake and Dice, or a couple of Drakes. They're two other game designers that have worked, and they've made Forged in the Dark games, and they're going to be playing our Forged in the Dark game. So we're really, really excited about that. They're really cool people. They have a cool Addams Family vibe. And so, yeah, we hope everybody enjoys meeting them next week. And with that, I think we will say adieu. And thank you all for being here.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.